Beloved, welcome back to the shop. One of my most prized possessions is my FSS U.S. Forest Service Pulaski. The Pulaski was invented by Ed Pulaski at the turn of the century, a true American hero. He was a forest ranger and he was famous for saving 45 men from burning up in a wildland fire by leading them into an abandoned mine shaft. I put this handle on this beautiful tool years ago, and over the winter, I must have leaned it against the wall and it has developed a terrible crook in it. I have tried everything to straighten this out. I have not wanted to replace the handle because I put so much time and effort in making this by hand. I was struggling with this and thinking, what do I do? I hate to cut it up. How can I straighten this? And it dawned on me. I remember reading something years and years ago about how the fathers used to straighten hickory handles by using a steam vessel. We're going to try to duplicate that today and see if we can't straighten this out using hot steam. I've laid the Pulaski on its side here to show you how much bow is in this. First off, for about a month, I put 50 pounds on it to press it down. That did not work. Then I took my jet clamp and I bound it down all the way down to the bench and let that sit for a day or two. That didn't work. There just is no fixing this at all without getting some moisture back into it. Before we build our pressure vessel, I want to talk a little bit about what causes this and why this happens. Yes, there's a little bit of gravity involved or leaning it against the fence or a wall, but really standing an axe against a wall doesn't put that much pressure on it, certainly not enough to have an extreme curve in it like this. What happens is that one side of the wood is drying out more than the other. It could be sunlight hitting it. It could just be UV light from the fluorescence or whatever. Who really knows? It's an incredible mystery. But there becomes an imbalance of moisture. And when one side dries out more than the other, it starts to pull it and put tension in the wood. What we need to do is to reintroduce moisture and then push it back and see if it holds. So how does Proho build a steam vessel? Well, I don't really know, so I looked around what I had on hand, and I had a piece of 4-inch ABS pipe. I didn't have a cap, so I sent my manservant, Mr. Dry, down to the hardware store, and he picked up this cap for us. And what I'm thinking is that we should be able to build a hot steam pressure, or a steam container that will be long enough and big enough to put various handles in. Now, this is not the only tool that I have with this problem, and so I thought it might be worth it to take a little bit of time and to build something we can have on hand so when this problem comes up, we'll be able to fix it. So with this pretty well figured out, how do we get steam into it? Well, once again, Mrs. W comes to the rescue. Do not tell her that I have her steamer. This is a commercial clothes steamer. This is what a lot of people in retail use for when garments come in. When garments come in for retail sale, they don't iron everything. They use these steamers. And the reason why we have one is Mrs. W does a lot of entertaining, and we have a traditional Swedish home, so there's a lot of tapestries and napkins for the holidays and such, and she was spending so much time ironing that I bought her this commercial steamer. Unfortunately, we're going to have to modify it, i.e. break it, to fit our needs for the axe handle, but I'll get a replacement part. So let's make the modification now and start building our vessel. Now, beloved, I really did try. I did my due diligence. I went to the website to see how to remove this head because this head is too big to fit inside my pipe, and I just want the hose. And unfortunately, the instructions said here, when this breaks, smash it with a hammer and put the replacement head on. That gives me the impression that it does not come off without being broken. So it's a common thing to break. So Mr. Jiraiya, my manservant, is going to order a replacement as we speak, and we're going to try to take this off without destroying it. It seems to me if we can kind of compress this, we got a kind of a clamshell design, and use the universal key, flat-bladed screwdriver, that we might be able to coax this. I don't know what the clips look like inside. They're probably going to get wrecked, but we'll find out here in a second, won't we? Let's try squeezing this. Slippery, this ABS plastic. Oh, that's a good sign. That's a very good sign. You see, just another reason to have a Wilton wood vise in the shop. Careful. The chance of me gouging my hand, of course, when using this tool is about 100%. Oh, percent. I knew it was coming. I think, look at that, gentlemen. Proho is successful. I don't believe that is going to, I don't think that's broken. Proof that the Lord is, the Almighty is real. Look at that. Simple. I stewed and worried about it for an hour and there was no reason. Okay, this will totally go back the way it was. Don't mention we did this, please. Hit that thumbs up, beloved, if you enjoy this content. We sure do appreciate that. It definitely helps. Okay, so what we need to do with our pressure, or I keep calling it a pressure vessel, it's not a pressure vessel, with our steam vessel is have a slight elevation and a cap on one end. Now we need not glue anything, we just, of course that won't come off easy, but it's on there now. We want it to be elevated because we're going to want that moisture to drain out of it. We just want the steam. We don't want it to be sodden. So I'm going to elevate this. My granddad built this. This was so clever. He welded together these pieces of angle and he had this on his drill press. So if you ever needed to drill a hole in round stock, you could put this in here and then your drill press would go down and it kept it from wobbling. Handiest thing. I use it all the time for little things like this. So we're going to use this to elevate our vessel. And then the steam, as it goes up and cools, it will run out the bottom. So we're going to have something to catch that. And to catch that, we'll use my granddad's old pail. He bought this to put, when he got older, he couldn't cut firewood anymore. You know, he just got, you know, we just get old, right? And he ended up getting a pellet stove. And he had a pellet hopper in his shop, and he would carry this every day and feed his pellet stove with this bucket. I'm very happy to have it. A lot of memories in these things. Now, as this drains out, we can catch it and it won't make a big mess on the floor. Here's what I'm thinking. We take our hickory handle, our Pulaski, we put this in here, and then we'll put our steam hose in here. And I don't know why we couldn't just take the best microfiber rags in the world, Maxima, of course, link in the description. Get those, support the grift, gentlemen. You know I only buy quality, so if I recommend something, it's because it's good. But why can't we just stuff a few rags in there, and we're going to have plenty of area in the bottom where the water can run out and introduce the steam? Why won't that work? If I remember right, 30 minutes to an hour sticks in my mind, so let's get the steam going and see what happens. The Jiffy Steamer is a fine piece of kit. These have been made in the USA since the 40s. They're not overly expensive. If you want to do a kindness for your wife, so she'll never have to iron again, I think it's worth the investment. There's a water tank here that you pull out and fill up, and that's what provides the water for the steam. And then just turn it on, and in a minute or so, it starts steaming. Is that on? Oh, GFI is the bane of existence. Oh, that's hot, dang. Don't take me long to look at something. We have steam, gentlemen, and a lot of it. This is super, super hot. This will burn you bad. You gotta be careful with this hot steam. Poke that in there. Boy, even the hose is hot. Almost too hot to touch. All right, we'll set our timer here. Let's give it 45 minutes and we'll come back and see if we can't bind that down and straighten out that nice handle. I'm going to support this pipe too with a piece of cribbing. That's a little bit thick. ABS is not rated for heat or pressure. This whole thing could start sagging. I don't know if it's going to hurt anything, but we'll keep an eye on it. Well, it's already hot. Well, that didn't take long. About 30 seconds, we started to get the drip into Granddad's basin. So what's happening is that steam is going in there and it's traveling up the pipe, and as it cools, the gas is turning back into a liquid and then running back down. So that's got to be super hot in there. It's going to be real hot here in a minute. Looks like we're losing a little bit of steam through the rags. That's too hot to touch. I got to grab some gloves. It's been going about 21 minutes. I got a little bit of water dripping out of the cap here. So we'll put a bowl there. I think we'll probably go ahead and glue that up if this works, because that's going to be quite a handy tool to have around here. The reason why I didn't cut down this pipe shorter to the 32 inches at the handle is we can use it for 60-inch handles like on this forest rake. Or any woodworking projects we have, anything that would fit inside of that we'll be able to steam up and bend if we wanted to make a radius. So it'll be a handy thing to have around the shop. I might even make a bigger one out of a 6-inch piece of ABS. I ran into one problem that was quickly fixed. I noticed that water started pooling around the steamer and the steam quit coming out. What happened is I had this hose with a low point in it, and it got it got full of water and the steam couldn't get through. So I just pushed this up in there a little bit further, made sure I got that P-trap out of it, and now it's steaming fine. So lesson learned, not a big problem, but I didn't realize that that needed to happen. We got good steam going now. I'm kind of curious how hot that is on that ABS. Let's get a temperature check. What's going on there? It's always the leather drawer. I need to, oh no, I need to get a better system here. Loose leather. I'm done fighting this. We're going to have another video on that. We're going to have to get a leather station set up. About 150. Hotter as the steam is rising. I'm kind of curious. Well, we got some heat on here. That head right there, close to 200. So it's 44 minutes. That's close to 45 here. Let's pull it out, and we'll have to move quick and see if we can't straighten that out, see what happens. I'm going to use this clamp to suck it down. I got a little wedge here just in case. Let that steam for the last little bit. Well, that baby's hot. Goodness. Hot and wet. Boy, it's much more pliable. I can feel it already. I'm going to bind that down flat. It's got a little bit of concave to it to overcompensate. I even thought about maybe wedging this up here, but I just don't know. As pliable, oh, that's hot, as pliable as that is, I think that we're good like that. So will it work? Well, you'll find out tomorrow. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, and first thing in the morning when the school's down, we'll find out together. Thanks for watching. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you all on the next video.